Dr. Freeman. Is it really that time again?
Supposing I don't have much time to train and I want to gain the most muscle I can, and I accept that my workouts are going to be hard, how should I train?
So when you say much time, do you mean per workout, per week? Like what type of
Let's
time do you
say I can only train on weekends,
Okay.
one day on a weekday,
Jesus. Yeah.
and I only have 30 minutes per session. We kind of went through this earlier.
Yeah. I mean,
Only caveat is this time I don't have that much time.
right. I mean, I would genuinely, I would do the upper lower full body we talked about, and it would just simply be rest pause, dog crap on all of it. And I would on this weekends, I would say 2 exercises per muscle group because there's time for that. You can get that done. Like for upper, it would be like, two for chest, two for back, two for delts, one each for biceps and triceps. That's 30 minutes. You can pop that out that quickly. Lower body, you can do, two quads, two hamstrings, uh, two glutes if you do it, depending on the movement. You can pop that out in 30 minutes. Doable. And then on the weekend, or then during the one weekly workout, I would do the same dog crap and just do one exercise per muscle group because you got to do full body. And you can absolutely crank that out in 30 minutes.
Bloody beaut.
I mean, yeah, just that. Um, if you didn't have to do the weekend thing, I would still do upper lower. It would just be alternating days. And that way each workout would just be 30 minutes. So Monday, upper rest pause, and then Wednesday lower, and just every fifth day. And that would absolutely, I mean, that's essentially what dog crap is.
It's kind of the way you train right now. And you really do stand by dog crap as a way to train when you're short on time or you just
I mean,
prefer
or
intensity.
some sort of rest pause. Like myo-reps is I don't want to say easier. It's not quite as intensity based. And I did have someone had to, but in my opinion, it also sounds boring as hell. So someone that I consulted with did it. And I'm like, okay, explain to me how, because like I said, I read Blade's book and it did not clarify what he was actually doing. So the impression that I got, the guy I was consulting with was doing. So like the activation set actually wasn't a failure. I think Blade used to use bar speed drops. Like you go to like the first bar speed drop. So that's like 3 reps in reserve. But then based on, I'm going to get this wrong, the rep number of the activation set, that determines how many reps you do for the additional sets. So like what I think the guy is consulting with this, so he'd do like an 8 rep activation set to 2 reps in reserve. And he'd rest 30 seconds and he'd do 4 more reps. He'd rest 30 seconds and he'd do 4 more reps. Rest 30 seconds, and he'd do 4 more reps. And he would keep doing sets of 4 until the 4th rep hit a certain reps in reserve level. Like that was his cutoff point. So it could be 3 mini sets of 4. It could be 6 or whatever the numbers was. I have to go pull it up. I'm totally getting this wrong. Now, that just sounds boring as shit to me. To just sit there and go, mini set of 4, mini set of 4, mini set of 4. Oh my God, I'm bored. I'll be honest, I'm bored describing it right now. I just don't have that kind of patience anymore. Whereas if I can get the same thing by just going in and going limit activation set, I mean it's a grinder, right? It's like an absolute maximal final rep on that set of 8. I give myself 20 seconds, get up, shake out my legs, grind out 3 more, 2, 1. I think the difference is the way he does it, he just does the one set because he gets like 30 total repetitions in that one set. I just do 2 sets and get 8, 3, 2, 1 twice because I would just get bored. But again, that's a personality. That's just a personality thing. I'm not saying my way is right or wrong. My way is right for me. I'm very good at pushing the limits. I don't mind the pain, and mainly I want to get in and out. I think for time efficiency in general, rest pause absolutely makes sense. I'm not going to say it is, absolutely superior to straight setting, because straight setting obviously can work. Not everyone is good at it. Not all exercises lend themselves to it. There's also something that doesn't say you can't use a mixture. That's something I see a lot of people doing that I think has a lot of potential validity, right, is like, okay, for certain things, like if you're doing a machine chest press or whatever, you might not want to use rest pause, or if you want to do whatever free weights. And then to get for arm stuff, just go get it done, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't do, rather than doing 4 straight sets of biceps, just go get it just on that stuff. Or, something more compound, because like, okay, I've done rest pause on hack squats. I don't necessarily recommend it. It's brutal. And I wouldn't recommend most people do it on a leg press, because if a leg press rep doesn't go, you're kind of in trouble. At least in the US, our machines don't have the right kind of safeties. The last I do remember, I think in Australia, y'all, like, leg presses should have a center safety to keep you from getting crushed. If on a leg press, I tell people repeatedly, if you're not sure you're going to get the next rep, like 1,000% sure, don't do it, because that rep won't be the difference between growth and not growth, but that rep might be the difference between something very bad happening, right? So in a leg workout, it is entirely possible that if you did hack squats to like dog crap, that might ruin the rest of your workout, right? Like that could very well be so exhausting that you can't get anything else done. So yeah, you hack squat, 2 sets of 8, 2 reps in reserve, get your work done. Maybe do a couple sets of leg press, 2 reps in reserve, and then you can use your leg extensions and wreck yourself with a rest pause or whatever. So it can be used. It doesn't have to be one or the other, but for time efficiency, I don't think there's any better way to do it. But you have to be able and willing to push that hard, because if you're not, it's like with interval training, where in the lab people do it and in the real world they don't, right? The only way interval training works is if you're willing to suffer. Doing 30-second repeats when you could go 60 seconds will not get you anywhere. You cannot do rest pause if the closest you can get to limits is 6 reps in reserve. Like you have to, like you said, it has to be hard one way or the other. You have to, if you can't do intensity, you're going to have to make it up with volume. And if you can do intensity, you got to cut the volume. And if you can't do the volume for time reasons, you're going to have to, something has to be challenging. Like,
If
I'm
you're
not a
time
big,
restricted and you can't do intensity, then
oh
you're
yeah.
screwed. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you don't have any options in that sense. There's
yeah.
nothing you can get done
Unless
if
you
you,
did some like weird specialization routine and just accepted very slow gains over time, where like on the Wednesday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Sunday, you just do one body part with as much volume as you can, and then you have one
right.
day to maintain everything else. That's the only way I can
Yeah,
imagine that
yeah, that
working.
would be an extremely odd set, but yeah,
Yeah.
like even with like short rest interval training, which I'm not a fan of, like that was always like 30 seconds between sets and rushing around and stuff. And if you talked to me 20 years ago, or I probably would have been just like super poo-pooed that. Like I don't think it's a productive way to train, but it can work if you do enough volume. Right. And that was the couple weird studies where they're like, they did leg extensions. Like one leg was heavy with long rest intervals, and the other one, they matched the total work volume. And you had to do like 50% more sets to compensate. And that I'm like, okay, yeah. So that pretty much that fit into my model. And that's going back to Krieger's volume Bible thing. He even said that. He's like, yeah, even if 10 sets is a limit, he's like, if you're using short rest intervals or lower quality training like Brad's training was, you're gonna have to do about 50%. So that was his way of weaseling in Brad's paper to make it still be okay,
Huh.
even if it didn't fit the overall model. But I don't disagree with that fundamentally. Like, yeah, the guys who make that kind of 30-second piss about training, they do 20 sets because their set quality is so low, right? You have to make up, in my opinion, high volume training like that is making up for the fact that it's low quality work. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. Don't mishear me. I wouldn't, because I have better things to do with my time, like get mad at Sly Cooper 2, because it's a really hard game and it's just brutalizing me right now. But like, I got better things to do than spend an hour running around the gym lifting every 30 seconds because I don't find that fun. So, I mean, it works. Would I ever train anybody like that? Oh, hell no. Um, but there are different paths to this goal. And at the end of the day, it still has to involve progressive overload. I mean,
Beautiful. Yeah. Hello. Since Lyle and I just discussed how to train effectively when time is limited, I figured I'd supplement our conversation with a quick demonstration of a rest pause set in action. So this footage is from the 18th of March. I weighed 74.5 kilos that morning, and what you're about to see is me cranking out 20 chest-to-bar pull-ups. This first set, what you might call the activation set, is taken all the way to 0 reps in reserve. That is, I'm confident I couldn't have touched my chest to the bar attempting a 21st rep, unless I were to have visited violence and war places. From there, I rest for 20 seconds and then go again to failure. And I repeat this cycle until I can't get more than 1 clean rep, at which point I stop. That's the set. In terms of muscle growth, I promise you I got more out of this one set of pull-ups than I would from 4 sets of lat pull-downs taken to Brad Schoenfeld failure. As Lyle mentioned, this isn't the only way to implement rest-pause training. You can also keep some reps in reserve and do more clusters or mini-sets in the style of Börje Fagerli's myo-reps. What I'm doing here, taking everything to 0 reps in reserve, is more in line with Dante Trudell's dog crap training. Now, as much as I believe in this method, I don't always train like this. I usually reserve it for days when I'm short on time, like on this particular day where I had a negotiation competition to prepare for. So I just hit this one all-out set of pull-ups, and then I did the same with push-ups, lateral raises, neck curls, neck extensions, called it a win, and moved on with my day. Now, one potential drawback of training like this all the time is the psychological toll. Because when you have to psych yourself up for every set to beat last week's numbers, looking at you leg day, that can burn you out. And if that burnout leads you to procrastinate on your workouts, then ironically, the very thing that makes this low-volume, high-intensity style of training so very appealing, the time efficiency, can evaporate entirely. Because if you're just sitting there, dreading your workout and putting it off, then you may as well have done a longer, easier routine and gotten it over with. And so while this very high-effort, low-volume training can be incredibly effective, it's better to think of it as a tool rather than a lifestyle. Use it when needed, respect its power, but be careful with it. Anyway, I'll let the footage roll, so you can see me doing some posing at the end. Consider it your reward for making it this far. Thank you for watching, and if you're interested, then check out the description for my consulting services and Lyle's books.